Okay, so today we will learn about RAML file. So first, what is RAML file? Okay, as I told in yesterday session, whenever we want to create any mule application, then first we need RAML file. Similar to whenever we want to create any home, we need one design. Okay, by following that design we will create our home. Same thing we do for mule application also. So RAML file will give you high level overview of your mule application, like what will be behavior of your mule application, what will be input of your mule operation, like what all input you are going to pass, what operation your mule application will perform. After that, what after calling that mule API, what response you will get. Okay, and what all data type you will get in response or either in request. So all details you will get from RAML file. Okay, so this is RESTful API modeling language. Now what all four things we need to be focused on RAML file? First, operation. So in operation mostly we will be focused on resource, defining resource, and method. Okay, so based on this resource and method we will define operation of this RAML file. Okay, second, input. So what data we are going to pass to call that API, so that input we will define. Okay, and input has four part. Okay, detail we will discuss one by one. Third, we have output, and then fourth one is underlying data type. So first we will discuss about operation. So in operation, what all things we need to consider? For example, I want to create a RAML, or I want to create a mule application or REST API which will insert a record or insert customer detail in customer database. Okay, so I want to create a mule application which will record customer data. Record customer data means it's going to insert customer information in database or some other storage location. Okay, so what operation we are going to perform? We are going to create one resource. Okay, and what name we will give that to that resource? We can give name as a customer. And whenever we define any resource, so resource name should be noun and it should be plural. Okay, so here customer will be our resource. Then what operation we are going to perform for this REST API? We are going to insert record in database. Okay, so for any REST API we have 5 methods. Okay, second thing we will work on method. So how many methods we have? First, get. Actually we have multiple methods, but we will be focused on 4 methods: get, post, third, put, then fourth, patch, and then fifth, delete. So first we will discuss about this get method. So get method we will use to retrieve resource information. So whenever we want to retrieve any resource information and whenever we want to find the state of any resource, at that time we will use get method. For example, I want to get the customer detail. So in that case, I want to retrieve customer information. So at that time we will use get method. Then second, post method. So when we will use post method, when we want to record a resource, I want to store or I want to create a new resource or create a new resource. For example, I want to store customer information. So what I am going to do, I am going to create a customer in database or some other storage location. So in that case we will use post method. Okay, now we have put method. When we will use put method, so whenever we want to completely update a resource, for example, I have some customer information and I want to completely replace that customer information with new data. At that time we will use put method. Now for example, I am going to do put operation on any customer information, but that customer information is not available in database or wherever we have that information. So that particular customer data is not available. In that case, what it will do, it will create a resource. It will perform same operation what post do. Okay, so what two operation put will do? Completely replace a resource, or if resource doesn't exist, then create a new resource. Fine. Then we have patch method. So patch and put both used for update, but this update is complete update, means this put method will do complete update. Completely it will replace or update, but patch method will do partial update. Okay, partial update. So what do you mean by partial update? For example, I have some customer information in database. For particular customer, I want to update few field, like I want to change address of particular customer, I want to change name of particular customer. So in that case we will use this patch method. Then we have delete method. Okay, so when we will use this delete method, when I want to delete any resource. For example, I have customer information in my database. Using Mule application, I want to delete a resource. Okay, so in that case we will use this delete operation to delete resource. So in this way you can see we have this 5 method. This 5 method we will use very frequently, but apart of this also we have multiple method. So if you want to see all the list of method, then you can go to Postman, and here if you will select on this method, you can see all the methods: get, post, put, patch, delete, then copy, head, option, link. But this operation we will use very rare. Okay, mostly you will be focused on this 5 method. Now next, and this resource will be part of your URI. So whatever resource you will define, for example, if you see here, then here I worked on this calculator API. So this API I created for calculator, it will perform as a calculator. So here what is my resource? This is my resource is calculator. Okay, so it will be part of your URI. So this is your URI. In URL, or sorry, URL, in URL generally what all details we have: method, then host, sorry, this one is transport, then host and port, and then resource. Okay, a part of that URI parameter and query parameter is also part of our URL. So we will discuss about this URI URI and query parameter now. Okay, so in this case what real-time scenario we have taken, like about customer. So here what we want to do, we want to create a new customer. So resource will be customer, and what will be method will be post, since we want to create a new resource. Okay, next, what other thing we need to consider? Second, we will consider our input. So whenever you define any RAML, so we have multiple input format, we can pass data in multiple way. So first way, we can pass inside URI parameter. So we can pass our input data in multiple way. First way, we have URI parameter. Now what do we mean by this URI parameter? URI parameter is nothing but it's a nested resource. Okay, now you will say, what do you mean by nested resource? For example, we have customer resource. Now in customer we have two kind of resource, male and female. So what we can, so male and female will be what? Male and female will be our nested resource. Okay, so we have main resource as a customer, but in customer we have two kind of nested resource, male and female. So that male and female will be our URI parameter. And how we define URI parameter? In curly bracket. Okay, so whenever you will define your URI parameter, you need to use curly bracket. Okay, so here we can take gender as a URI parameter. What other data we can take as a URI parameter? We can take, so for customers we can have customer ID also we can take as a URI parameter. So for that particular customer, for each customer we will have customer ID. So inside customer resource, customer ID will be your URI parameter. Okay, whatever nested resource you can define, that all will be URI parameter. So we can take customer ID also as a URI parameter. So and whenever you will define URI parameter, it must be in curly bracket. So this one is first way to pass any input. What is second way? Second way, we have query parameter. Now what is query parameter? Query parameter we use for filter condition. For example, I want a list of customer where customer salary is more than 10,000. Okay, so I want to pass some filter in my input. So where we will pass that filter? Inside query parameter. So query parameter will we use for filter condition. Okay, and URI parameter we use for nested resource. Okay, so here what we can pass in query parameter? What we can pass? So we can pass salary, we can pass age, like I want all the list of customer whose age is more than 30 years. So this kind of, whenever we want to pass any filter condition, we should use query parameter. Second, third, we have header. So generally whenever we are calling any API, sometimes we need to pass some metadata. Okay, so header contains metadata. So what kind of metadata we can pass? For example, content type. Okay, if you see here, so by default when you will create any postman, you will get multiple header. Okay, for example, cache control, postman token, host, user agent, accept. Okay, accept encoding, connection. Then other header also we have like content type. See, so we have content length, content type, connection. So all these are metadata of any REST API. Okay, so whenever we want to pass metadata, we will pass inside header. So what will be example of this? Content length, content type, transaction ID. Okay, now what do you mean by metadata? Metadata means data about data. So whatever data I want to call, I want to pass to call a API. So this header will contain information about that data. Okay, so content length means whatever your body you are passing, length of your body. Content type means whatever body you are passing, type of body, like application JSON, application XML, what kind of body you are going to pass. Transaction ID we will use for tracking purpose. So whatever information you will pass in your header, this data will not be used for API processing purpose, like whatever business logic you want to achieve, for that business logic you will not use this data. You will use this data for monitoring purpose and for managing your API. For that purpose you will use. Okay, and then fourth way we have body. Okay, it will contain resource detail. Now you will say what is resource detail? For example, I want to create a customer information. I want to create a new customer. So what all details I want? I want first name, last name, mobile number, email address, date of birth. So all detail where we will pass inside body. Okay, so now in get method do we need body? Since in get method we want to retrieve customer. Okay, so in case of get method we don't need any body, but in case of post method do we need body? Yes, since we want to create a resource and I need resource information. In case of patch method or put method do we need resource? Yes, we need, since I want customer information to update or completely replace the customer information or resource. In that case we need body. So in case of get method only we don't need body. Okay, now in input, after input we have output. Okay, so in output what all things we need to understand? First, HTTP status. Okay, so whenever you will get output, if I go to Postman, I think my API is down. Let me see if any API call is still there. Okay, so yeah, another case you can see here. You can see here, whenever you will call any API, you will get some HTTP status. Okay, either you will get 200 means success, means whatever process what you call that API successfully completed its task and it will return you 200. Okay, so HTTP status, you will get a list of HTTP status. For example, 200 means success. Now if I want to create a new resource and my API successfully created a resource, in that case what response you will get? You will get 201, means resource created. Okay, if you are calling any API and you are getting 400, means you are passing bad request. What does it mean? So whenever you will define your input, you will define structure of your input, like what will be your URI parameter, what will be your query parameter, what will be your header, and what will be your body. What all data inside this input parameter is mandatory, what all are optional. If it is mandatory or optional, what kind of data it will accept. If you will not pass, means if someone calling my API and they are not passing input as per RAML definition, whatever we have defined, if they are not passing as per definition, then in that case they will receive 400. Okay, so our RAML will respond with 400. Okay, then again we have 401. 40 means unauthorized. So what do you mean by this unauthorized? For example, I am creating any REST API and that API is secured API. If someone calling my secured API with incorrect credential, like user ID is incorrect or password is incorrect, in that case API will respond 401 in status, and that means this API means whoever called this API haven't passed correct credential. Apart of this, we have 404. This one is very common. This is for page not found. And a part of this, what we have? 500, and 500 means critical error. So in this way we have a list of HTTP status. If you want to see list of HTTP status, go to Google and type HTTP status. You can see a list of HTTP status: 100 continue, 100 switching protocol, 200 OK, 201 created, 202 accepted. Then in 300 series, 300 means multiple choice, 303 3 other. In 400 series, 40 bad request, 401 unauthorized, 402 payment required, 403 forbidden, 404 page not found, 405 method not allowed. Okay, in 500 series, 500 internal server error, 501 not implemented, 502 bad gateway. In this way you can see a list of error status we have. Okay, so based on like behavior of this RAML, like whatever request they are passing and how our behavior, how my RAML is replying or my API is replying, based on that we need to pass status code also. As I told, if my API will create a resource successfully, then in that case we should pass 201. Okay, if someone calling my API and they are not passing correct input parameter, then we should reply with 400. Okay, so in this way, in output, first thing we have HTTP status. now. Second thing, important thing, we have body. In case of output also we will have body, so that will be our response of our API. Okay. So same way, like in input body, what it will contain? It will contain resource detail. Same way response will also contain resource detail. For example, I want to fetch a customer detail. Okay. So in that case, what method I will use? I will use get method, and that API, REST API will send customer information. So where they will send customer information? They will pass inside body. So again, this body will contain resource detail. Okay. Now next point we have, that is underlying data type. Okay. Okay. So inside underlying data type, we have we define data type of our input, output, everything. Like in input, whatever body we have, it can be in JSON format, it can be XML format, it can be CSV format, it can be text format. So whatever data type we will define, we define under this underlying data type. If you want to see here in Postman, so for example, we have body here. Here, when you will select this row data, see here you can select data type. It can be text, JavaScript, JSON, HTML. For example, I am selecting JSON. So in request body, I will pass JSON object. Okay. For example, name ABC, role 1. Okay. In this way, we can define underlying data type for our input. Same way, when you will get output, for output also we have underlying data type. So you can see here text, JSON, XML. So whatever data type you will get from your API, that data type will be automatically selected here. And whenever you want to call, you have to select particular data type, and you need to call that particular API. Okay. So this is very basic things about RAML. So whenever you will create RAML, so these are very basic thing. Apart of that, we have few more things, like what is data type, we already discussed. What is traits, what is library, all those things we have, that we will discuss slowly. So today actually we will not follow any best practice of RAML. We will create very simple RAML, and we will create one mule application using that RAML. Okay. So let's start with a small demo. Okay. So based on this, we will create one RAML file, and we will see what all things we can do on that RAML. Slowly we will understand what all other things we have inside RAML, like traits, library, resource. We'll see and we'll implement. Okay. So as a demo of this detail, like how to create a very basic RAML, what we will do, in last session we have created one calculator API. Again we will create calculator API, but this time first we will create RAML, and then using that RAML file we will create calculator API. Okay. So first thing what I will do, I will create one RAML. Okay. So I will start with first part. So in first part, what we have operation. So what operation my calculator will do? It will add, subtract, multiply or divide. We will discuss about basic operation of calculator. Okay. So if whatever operation it will do, for that we need to define resource. Okay. So So first we need to define resource. So what will be resource for this calculator? So we should use some related name with our resource. So we are going to perform calculator operation. So I will take resource name as a calculator, and as I told, we should use Borland. So my resource name will be calculators. Second thing, what we are going to do, we are going to we are not going to create any resource, we are retrieving resource from this API. So what will be my method? Method will be get. Okay, so inside operation we define two things. One is based on my operation, like what my REST API will do. Based on that, we need to define resource and method. So resource will be calculators, method will be get, since we are going to retrieve information from that API. So that API will give you some resource detail. Second, input. Now what all inputs we need for calculator? Okay, so for calculator, do we need any metadata? Okay, I need one metadata, so I will pass inside header. What metadata I want? I want transaction ID. Okay. Okay, data type we will define later. So as a header, what data we will pass in header? We will pass metadata. So what is my first metadata? That is transaction ID, that we will use for logging purpose, monitoring purpose. Second, do we have any other? Yeah, I will pass content type. Content type. So what will be content type? It will be application JSON. Again, it will come inside underlying data type, but anyhow we are defining now. So content type we are going to define, and that will be application JSON. So we are going to pass application JSON in body. Okay. Now so for this also we will define, actually we have fourth component underlying data type, we will define parallelly. Okay, so transaction ID, it will be of type string. Okay, what will be length? So max length we can take, max length I will define as a 36. Then required, all those things will come inside underlying data type. Required true means we must need to pass this transaction ID. Okay, same thing we will define this required true for content type also. We must need to pass this content type in header. If we will not pass, then our API will give bad request. Second thing, a part of header, what all things we have? So a part of header we have URI parameter, body, query parameter. Okay, so next, first let's discuss about body. As I told, if method will be get, we should not pass anything inside body. Okay, since we are going to retrieve information from this API. Okay, so in body we will not pass any detail if method is get. What other things we have? We have query parameter and URI parameter. Okay, now do we need any URI parameter? URI parameter means nested resource. So calculator is my resource. Do we have any nested resource? So we have one thing, that is operation. Actually calculator will perform 4 operation like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. So we can use that inside URI parameter also, since we can treat that as a nested resource, and we can treat that as a filter condition also. Okay, so how we want to treat that, based on that we can define either inside URI parameter or we can define inside query parameter. So let's take as a filter condition only. So we'll take that operation in filter condition. Okay, so again we don't need any URI parameter. So header we don't need body, we don't need URI parameter. So what we need now, next, query parameter. Okay, so what all query parameter we need? First we need operation. Operation will be type of string. Okay, we will not define string here. This time we will define enum. So what is enum? I will tell. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and then division. So, okay, so we have 4. Actually, what is enum here? If we are passing any input and we have defined number of input, so in operation we will pass only addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Okay, so in that case we have fixed number of input, we should use enum. Here in this case we don't know what will be my transaction ID. It can be anything in the form of this string, and max length will be 36, but it can be any string, so we don't know what string will come. So in that case we can't define enum. But in this case operation, we know operation will be either addition, subtraction, multiplication or division, so that will come inside enum. Okay, next. Just give me 1 minute. What we need next? We need first number. Okay, let me think. Are we going to use this first number as a filter condition? No. So first number we should not use inside query. So first number we should use inside URI parameter. Yesterday actually we put inside query parameter, but it should be part of URI parameter. Okay, so what all URI parameter we have? So for this calculator we need 2 nested resource. What is that? First is first number, okay, and second one is second number. Now what will be value of first number and what will be value, means what all data type, underlying data type will be? For this also it will be number, for this also, and required will be true. Here also it should be required. Same we will have for second number. So these two are nested resource, these two are not filter condition. So operation is our filter condition. Based on operation we will perform different activity. Okay, but first number, second number we can't use as a filter condition, so we'll pass inside nested resource. For calculator we have two nested resource, first number and second number. And how we will denote this? We will denote this inside curly bracket. Okay, let me check first. No. Actually it should come inside body, but in get method we should not pass body. And if I take nested resource, yeah, actually in query parameter we can't pass, so we don't have any other place where we can pass this. Okay, fine, so no problem. So now if I have two URI parameter, then what will be my resource? Okay, here I am defining third is URI. So URI will be slash calculator slash first number slash second number. Okay, so we are done with this input. Now we'll discuss about output. Okay, so as a output, what all things we will have? So first HTTP status. So for we will have multiple HTTP status. So first we'll discuss about 200. So for 200 HTTP status, we will have status 200 and body. Okay, now for body, what all things we will have? For body, first we will have data type or MIME type. So what kind of body I want to send back? As a response, I want to send application JSON. Okay, and what will be content of our body? It will be, in case of calculator, what will be my final response? My final response will be result. If we are selecting addition 10 10, then my result will be 20. If we are selecting subtraction 20 10, then my result will be 10. If we are selecting multiplication 10 20, my result will be 200. If we are selecting division 10 2, then my result will be 5. Okay, so inside body we will have result. What will be type of result? Data type. What will be data type of result? It will be number. Okay, again it will be similar to this. Okay, so this is about 200. So we can have multiple HTTP status. For example, we are getting 400 bad request. So in case of bad request, what will be my status? 400. Okay, what will be my body? Body, again it will be, okay, one thing I forgot to mention here, object and MIME type MIME type is application JSON. Same way for 400 also, this thing will be same, body will be object and MIME type will be application JSON, means type of this body will be application JSON. So inside 400 we can pass two data, like inside body we can pass two things. One is error code, second we can pass error message. So this means in 200 series we will get success response. All 200 series are success, related to success. A part of that 400 500 series is related to error scenario. So whenever we will have any 400 response, it can be 400 401, we will show status equals to 400. Our body will be object and it will contain two elements, error code and error message. Okay, so till this point we will take only two HTTP status in output, that is 200 and 400. Okay, and okay, let me take two more HTTP status. Okay, what we use very frequently, that is 404 and 500. Okay, so everything will be same. Okay, so first 400, then 404. Okay, and then 500. So whenever we are going to define any RAML, we have to think about this four thing. First one is operation. Based on operation we will define resource and method and URI. URI is combination of resource, query parameter and URI parameter. Oh, we will have this query parameter also in URI. Okay, so how to define this query parameter? There will be question mark and after that we will have name of query parameter and after equals to sign and then value. Okay, then inside input we will have header, query parameter, URI parameter and body. Since we are using get method, so there should not be body. Here header, what will be header? Header will be metadata. For this API, what all metadata I need? I need transaction ID, content type. Okay, transaction ID we will use for logging purpose, and then content type will be application JSON. So actually what is content type means whatever data we are going to pass, what is data type of that content. Okay, we need content type, we don't need, since we are not going to pass body, so this one is not required. We need query parameter. As I told, whenever we call any API, if we need any filter condition, then we will pass inside query parameter. And if we need any nested resource, so inside calculator we have two nested resource, first number and second number. Okay, so in that case we will pass inside URI parameter, and in output we will have HTTP status. So status can be 200, 400, 401, 404, 500, 301. So we have multiple HTTP status, but here in this RAML we are going to define only 4. Each HTTP status has body of type object and data type application JSON. For body and 200 we have only one element inside this body, inside this object, result, that is sum of these two number or subtraction of these two numbers. So final result what we have. and then in case of 400, 404 and 500, we have two element inside body, that is error code and error message. Okay, so in this way, whenever you will get any API detail, what you need to do, you need to create one YAML considering all these detail. Okay, now what we will do, we will create YAML. Okay, so let me go to Anypoint platform. Okay, before this, let me go to last application what we developed for calculator. Okay, so if you can remember, in last session we have created one API, that is our calculator API. Okay, here also we can see, we don't need to open that application. So no, not this one, yeah, this one. In last day actually we passed first number and second number inside this query parameter only, but that should not be. This first number and second number should be part of our URI parameter, and only one filter condition we have, that is operation. In header, these all are by default header of Postman, so if you want you can hide. We are not passing any header, but today we are going to pass one header, that is transaction ID. So that is our metadata. In body again we don't need anything, so we will not pass anything. And in response you will get body and you will get HTTP status. Okay, so let's move to Anypoint platform. So what I will do, I will create one new account. Okay, so okay, I'm not going to use my own email address and mail ID or mobile number. Then company, I'm giving any username, you must be take unique. Okay, then select I am not a robot, bots. Anywhere else we have traffic light. Okay, and select this agreement, accept and create. Okay, it's saying user already exists. Okay, so what I will do, okay, if user already exists, then let me try to do login. If I remember password, yes. So I created one Anypoint platform account. So yesterday I have given very high level overview, but today we will start with Design Center and we'll create a YAML from very scratch. if you remember, we have created one mule application and one demo YAML, but today we are going to create one new API spec. Okay, so if you want to create YAML, then you have to select this YAML. Okay, so what we are going to create, we are going to create calculator YAML for calculator API. Now version, so we'll take the latest version of YAML available for this Anypoint platform. Actually latest version is 2.0, but here you can see we have supported version latest is 1.0. So I will take this one and click on this create API spec. So in this way you can create YAML. Okay, so what all step I did, I will tell you again. Go to Design Center, select this create new option, go to this new API spec and give name, select YAML version and click on create new. But I have already created, so you can see here just now we created this one. Now I want to update this, or I want to define this YAML properly, so I will go inside this YAML. Okay, so now you can see by default you will get this YAML 1.0 as a version and this title what we are going to do. Okay, so after that you can define, so you can see here by default you will get multiple suggestion. Okay, you can select appropriate field from your suggestion. So what I want to do, I want to write a small description about this YAML. So this API will perform operation of calculator. So you can write any description about your API or about your YAML. Okay, now click on next. I am giving one extra space since this all are metadata about this YAML. So now I will start actual part of our YAML. Okay, so if you see here, first what I need to do, I need to define this first and two, resource and method. Okay, so if I go inside operation, okay, one more thing, as I told, like this URI parameter is nested resource. So whenever we are discussing about this resource, then we should think about this URI parameter also. So we will define first this resource, then these two URI parameter. Okay, since inside URI parameter we pass input data, request data, that's why we are defining here, but this URI parameter is nested resource. So whenever we will discuss about resource, so we will start our YAML definition from resource. Okay, so first my resource is calculator. So to define resource you have to use this forward slash and then resource name. Okay, then click enter. Now you can see here there is one tab after calculator. Okay, since this first number and second number, this calculator is parent resource, inside this we have one nested resource and inside this we have one nested resource. So that's why calculator will be our resource and then we have one nested resource. This will also start from forward slash and then inside first number we have another nested resource. This second number. Okay, now again click on enter. Okay, so when you will define all the resource, resource means your this resource and nested resource, then you need to define method. Okay, so what will be our method? Get. So you can see here by default you will get suggestion what all things you can define here. So I will take this get method. After that, what all things you can define you will get in suggestion. Okay, so inside get method, first we will define, so inside this method you can define header, query parameter and body, and response. Response means our final response, and body means our request. Means we can pass request in body also. So whenever I am mentioning only body, means that is request body, and inside response also we will have body, that is response body. Okay, so what all things we can define here? Header, query parameter, you can see here header, query parameter, body, and then we can define response also. Other things also we can define, but we are focused on very basic YAML, so we will discuss about this only. So first I will define this header. So what header I want to pass here? I want to pass this transaction ID. So whenever you will give name of your header, it should follow camel case. Okay, so I will type here header will be transaction ID. Okay, then we will define detail about this transaction ID. So what details we have about transaction ID? Transaction ID is of type string, maximum length is 36 and required true. Required true means we must need to pass this transaction ID to call this API. Okay, so type will be string, then max length will be 36, and then required will be true. Okay, click on enter. Do we have any other header? We don't have. If we have any other header, so on the parallel of this transaction ID we can create another header, but we don't have any header. So on the parallel of this header we can define query parameter and URI parameter. So inside get header, and on the parallel of this header we can define query parameter. So this time I will take query parameter. So do we have any query parameter? Yes, we have. Okay, so what query parameter we have? Operation. Again operation should be camel case. Okay, now as I told, operation contain enum. Okay, so how to define enum? So you will get in suggestion also enum. See, parameter we are getting enum. Select enum, then we have to define what all possible data we can pass. So we can pass only this 4 data. Okay, so first enum is addition, second subtraction, third multiplication, fourth we have division. Okay, so we are done with this query parameter also, since we have only one query parameter. So we define header, we define query parameter, and URI parameter we already defined. This we already defined. Okay, next. So we are done with all the input. Now we will discuss about output. So since we don't have any body here in input, we don't have any body, so we are not going to define body. This body we are not going to define. So now what we are going to define? Output. So output will be part of this response. So first select this response, Okay, as I told, when you will select response, inside response we have multiple status code. So what all response we are going to define? 200 and 400, 404 and 500. So let's start with 200. Okay, so in response 200, and after that we need to select what will be data type of my response. So if you go here, if you see here, status 200 we already take, and then body will be object and type will be application JSON. So here what will be my type? Okay, sorry, after 200 we will take body, and what will be data type? Application JSON. Okay, so inside this application JSON, inside this body we have only one element, that is result. What is data type of this result? Application JSON. So here we can define data type and example both. For now, to make it simple, I will define only example. So as per definition, what is there? Inside 200 our body will be object type and data will be one element will be there, that is result. So if in JSON we want to define object, so we should define one curly bracket. Okay, one more thing I forgot. So inside application JSON we need to define example. So we are directly going to define example. Okay, so for body, what example I will give? So here what is detail of body? Body is of type object and it's a JSON and it contain one element result. So based on this detail I am going to create. So we need one object and its type is JSON. So we already defined application JSON, and inside this object we have one element, that is result. So for result I can write value as a something 20, 30, whatever I want to define. So this is our dummy example. Okay, so whenever you create any document for your home, so what you used to do, like whenever there will be one door, you will design one door there. You will not explain like door will be created by iron, or it will be created by wood, or it will be created by glass. Okay, you will take any one example. Okay, I created one door and my door type means I will use glass to create that door. So similarly I took, there will be result and a result will be 30. But when we will do actual implementation, based on first number, second number, and based on this operation like addition, subtraction, this value will change. But for now I am just creating one YAML file, means I am creating one document for our API. So I will give any example, but we should give some valid example which can be possible. Okay, now we are done with 200. On the same level of 200 we will define another HTTP status. So we will define 400. Second we have 400. So 400 also structure will be same like this. So inside 400 we will have body, and inside body what is data type of my body? Application JSON. And what is example? Example will be, if you go here you can see we have two element here, and body is type object. So inside object we will have two element, one is error code and another one is error message. So first element will be error code, and we can give error code 400, that is of type integer, and then error message This is for bad request. Okay, now one thing we need to observe here, whatever things I am creating here, in right side you can see same details you can see here. So we have created one calculator resource. Inside this calculator resource we have one nested resource first number, we have second number, again we have one nested resource, that is second number. So everything, all the resource or URI will come here, and inside this URI we have one get method. So we have one get method. If I click on this get method, so you can see here we have one URI parameter. Okay, so you can see complete detail here. Okay, so we have URI parameter, first number and second number, first number and second number. Okay, we have query parameter. Yes, we have one query parameter, that is operation, and enum is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Then we have defined one header. So you can see header is transaction ID, data type is string, and required is true. That's why we are getting required. Okay, now we have defined response also, 200 response, 400 response. Till this point we defined 2, so we are getting 200 and 400. So if I click on 200, you can see here response, result 30. Okay, everything you will get here also. In case of 400 we will get this. Okay, so now after this 400 we want to define two more status, that is 401 and we have 500, sorry 404. Since it's a very similar to 400, so what I will do, I will copy this. And here also. Okay, but we will change whatever things required. So this will be 404. Page not found. And we will have 500. This will be critical error. Okay, so here you can see now we have 200, 400, 500, 404. So whatever you have defined, everything you can see here. Okay, now if you want, you can test this YAML. So you need to select this try it option. After that, whatever things you have defined as a required true, you must need to pass some value. For example, we have defined URI parameter, first number, second number. This two will be by default required true. Okay, so I will pass one first number 10, second number 20. Then see query parameter. Query parameter name is operation, and we have used enum. In case of enum, we will have fixed value. We can pass only this value. So you can see here we are getting drop down. So we can select addition, subtraction, multiplication or division. A part of this we can't pass any value. So I am taking addition or subtraction. Okay. Then we have one header also, that is transaction ID. So header also here. So we need to pass one transaction ID of 36 length. Okay, I'm not sure they will validate or not if I will pass lesser than 36. Let's see, and then click on send. So we are getting results. So it will not, here it will not validate, but when we will do actual implementation, then it will validate. So I think we used 36 as a max length. Okay, so what we used, 36 as a max length. Okay, so we haven't defined any minimum length, so till 36 it will take. See, after 36 character it's not taking. Okay, so maximum length we have defined 36, so maximum it will take 36 character length. Now if I am entering, it's not taking, so let me click on OK. So we are getting success. If I remove any mandatory data, this one is required. If I click send, fill in required parameter, so you will get this kind of error. But when you will do actual implementation, like when we will create REST API using this RAML, then we will get bad request. Okay, so here passing 20. Okay, so we are not getting this error now. So this is our very basic RAML. Okay, now we will see few more things, like how to download this RAML file, how to rename this RAML file name. So in setting, you can see here we have multiple options. Import, if I want to import anything inside this file, and that must be that must be jar file, so we can import here. Import from Exchange, we can take, or we can import something from Exchange also. Download project, if you will click on this download project, this RAML will be downloaded in your local system. Okay, and name will be calculated api.zip. So I will download this. So downloaded started, so it will be downloaded in my local system. Then we have rename. If you want to rename this RAML file, you can rename. Duplicate, if you want to create a similar RAML file, then you can select this duplicate. And delete, if you want to delete this RAML file. Okay, so these all operation we have. Now here you can see first option what we are seeing here. So this is documentation of our RAML. Here you can see structure of our RAML, everything. Okay, if you close this, you can't see documentation. Okay, below to this documentation we have mocking service option. If you select this and you will make it public, then you will get one URL. Okay, now what I will do, I will take this URL, I will copy this URL and I will go to Postman. I will create new Postman, paste it here. So till this point we are getting HTTP host and port. So what I told, after this HTTP host and port, you need to define our URI. So what is my URI? My URI is this. Okay, so I will paste my URI here. Now calculator is fine. This first number and second number, when we define RAML, we define in curly bracket, but when we define here, we don't need curly bracket. Okay, so we will just insert value. So what is my value for first number? I want to pass 20. What is value of my this second URI parameter? 10. As I told, this represent nested resource. So nested resource will have some value. For example, customer. I want to see customer detail having gender male. Okay, so we have two kind of nested resource, male and female. I want to see gender having male. Okay, so in that case we need to pass here male. Or I want to see customer having employee ID 1. So I need to pass 1 here. So in this way you need to pass value of your URI parameter. Okay, so we are done with this URL part. So URL will contain host, transport, that is HTTPS, then host and port. Till this point we have host and port, then resource, and then URI parameter. Okay, after this we will this URL will contain query parameter also. So we can write query parameter here, or we can write here inside params. So what is my query parameter name? Operation. So I will select operation here. In operation for now I am passing anything. We'll see what will be behavior of our API. I am not passing correct query parameter. We should pass any of this value. For now I will copy this, but I will not pass this. I will pass any random data. Anything we need in header? Yes, we need transaction ID. And maximum length of transaction ID is 32, so I am passing this much of data. And let me call this. We are getting 404 not found. Okay. Calculators, then 20, then 10, then operation. Okay, so it's okay, I missed here. Actually it should be calculators, since I used here calculators. If I want to run this, then I need to pass here calculator, but it should be calculator. So I will replace this and let me save this and let me run this again. Okay, so this time we are able to call this API, but we are getting bad request. Why we are getting bad request? We defined everything correctly, but only thing, this query parameter operation is enum, so we must need to pass that particular value: addition, subtraction, multiplication or division. Now I am passing correct data. So now my operation is required true. We must need to pass value, and we must need to pass some enum value. From that enum value only, we have 4 enum value, so I am using that value only. Header, inside header we have transaction ID. This one is also required true, so I am passing that, and it must be below 36 character, so I am passing below 36 character. And inside our URI, so from here our URI starts, so inside URI we should pass resource and then nested resource. So for nested resource I am passing value as a 2030 and resource name which calculators. Now I am calling this, so we are getting result 30. So whatever example I have defined here, so I am getting this example. Okay, so in this way you can test your YAML from Postman also. Every time, now if you will say, if I will change 2010 to 2020, okay, if I will call this, since I am doing addition, so my actual value should be 20, 20, 40, but we are getting 30. So is it correct? Yes, this one is correct. So what YAML will respond? YAML will respond whatever example we will define. No matter what query parameter, URI parameter you are passing, but it will pass, it will give result as a response, whatever response you will define here. Okay, in case of 200. So here you can see status is 200. So what we can mean from here, YAML is just a documentation of our API. It's not actual implementation. Okay, so after creation of this YAML, we need to do actual implementation of our API. We are just creating here blueprint of our API using YAML file. We are not creating API. It's a blueprint of your API. Okay, so whatever things you will define, based on this you can test your YAML and you will get example response, whatever example you will define. Okay, so from this, like whoever give you requirement, like client or stakeholder, if you will pass this YAML to them, they will check your YAML, and whatever expectation they have, they will check their expectation. What is their expectation? Resource name should be calculators. Okay, if they will pass some other resource name, resource not found. Okay, so resource name must be calculators. It will contain two URI parameter, sorry, yes, URI parameter. One is first number and second number. So in first number, second number, we are passing some value. It must contain one query parameter, that is operation, and that is enum. It must contain this value only. So we are passing this value. If we will change value, we will get error. that is expected. Okay, if we will pass any other value, it should give 400 BAT request. Then in header we should have transaction ID. So here we are passing this transaction ID, and we are passing as per definition it should be less than equals to 36 character, and value should be string, and click on send. So we are getting this result. Okay, fine. So till this point we have created one RAML, and we tested from Anypoint platform, and we tested from Postman also using this mocking service option. Now what we will do, we will publish this RAML on Exchange. Okay, so for that we have one option here, publish. Click on this. And what is Exchange? As I told, it's a central repository where you can expose your resource, or where you can share your resource with others. Either it can be your teammates, or it can be your you can make it public. Okay, so let me publish on Exchange. Then it will ask about your version, so we need to provide version of this API. Okay, and when next time when you will publish again, you need to change that version. Okay, for example, if I will use now 1.0.0, next time I will publish, then I will publish with 1.0.1. okay, so asset version I will give 1.0.0. okay, this API version, okay, let me give API version also v1, and then click on publish to Exchange. So once it will complete publish, then we can go to Exchange and we can see this RAML file on my Exchange. Okay, click on this, and now we are on Exchange, and you can see all the detailed description of that RAML here also. Okay, if I want to download RAML from here, so we have download option. We can download as RAML, as OS. Okay, and we can download as a connector also. If I want to share this RAML within organization, or we want to share as a public, then we can select this option, public or shared. Okay, if I want to share with within organization, so we need to provide user ID. Okay, and then click on save. Now here we can do documentation of our RAML, this API. Okay, so we can write about this API, what this API will do. So in add description we can write something about this API. Okay, if I want to see here what all API I have published on Exchange, so you can see here we have published this calculator API and demo RAML. Yesterday we published this, and today I published this. Okay, so in this way, this Exchange is your central repository where you can publish your resource. It can be RAML, it can be API, anything.